Thank you all again for joining me in my learning journey. As a reminder, T2L Academy is an initiative I started with the mission of teaching to learn. So I learn and then share with you and teach so that I can learn better and hopefully in the process help you learn too. So today I'm going to be sharing my learnings on how to make a very simple landscape that you can customize to look however you want. Alright, so in our landscape there are really two parts to it. There's the background and there's the silhouette of the object we're trying to feature. So for the background, I like to do a gradient, and the way I do that is by making a rectangle as a guide and then filling that rectangle in with the colors changing in increments. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so now we have our colors all laid out, and the next step is just to blur out our gradient, and this may take a couple of tries in case you've made an error in your application of colors. It happens, but just feel free to make those edits as you're doing your blurring, and I'll show you what we're talking about here in a second. So if you noticed back there, I did have to make a small change to this bottom part of my gradient. A lot of times you will run into that issue where you've made a small mistake in your gradient. Totally fine. Just make those edits while you're blurring. And then what I went ahead and did was I reduced the opacity of that rectangle. Another thing you can do is just hide it to get rid of that rectangle. And our next step here is going to be to clean this gradient up. So what I did for that was I took my eraser and I used the square tool and I cleaned up the edges. So you'll see in a minute what that looks like. Alright, so if you have made it to this point, that means that you have successfully reached the stage where you have finished the background of your landscape. So congratulations. You are now done with the background of your landscape. So the next part of our landscape is the silhouette of the object you want to feature. So some cases you can do mountains or a plant. I am going to do grass in this case. But again, that's totally up to you. So let's start with our silhouettes. Now you have finished the base of your silhouette. So in my case, I have my grass here. The next step is just any additional cleanup you want to do. Do you want to, for me, in my case, it would be trimming off this bottom edge right there and cleaning that up. I want to make the grass a little taller, add some more realistic details. Adding stars if you're doing a night landscape. Simple cleanup things like that, and then once you're done with that, you've officially finished your simple landscape. So that's it for landscape number 1, but stay tuned for 2 other examples of how your landscape can look, because it can really look however you want it. You don't have to do a grassy meadow at night. There are other options, like I am going to be showing you a sunset with mountains and a desert at night drawing. So there are a lot of options. And remember, the part that really takes a little bit of practice here is the gradients, but other than that, it is a very, very simple piece of artwork that is great for practicing your tools. So that is it for this learning. Thank you for joining me. I'll deeply appreciate it if you leave your comments, feedback, and further suggestions for additional learnings and topics below. And as always, please subscribe and click for notifications so that you can join me on my learning journey and we can all be lifelong learners together.